Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So we at the Mid-New Jersey chapter for the Association for Talent Development are so looking forward to today's session on mental wellness in the workplace. Let me introduce today's speaker, who's no stranger to the ATD, as she was chapter president for the then ASTD Philadelphia many years ago, and ATD is close to her heart, and it's DillonMarcus. She's with us today, co-founder of DillonMarcus, a firm dedicated to creating world-class organizations. So after reaching senior leadership status, Tara left the corporate world to create a woman-owned business. Tara, along with her partner and husband, Evan Marcus, founded DillonMarcus. The DillonMarcus' extensive client list features prominent names in the for-profit, nonprofit, and higher education arenas. In the past 5 years, both Tara and her husband noticed a strong uptick in stress and anxiety among the individuals they coached. So to help their coachees navigate stress-inducing situations, they began teaching them a 4-step method to use when they got triggered. So the method helps people manage their mindset so they can regain peace of mind and focus on their work. So co-presenting with Tara today is Jaime. Jaime's a member of the DillonMarcus team and a certified Spotted mindset coach. So I'll hand things off to Tara and Jaime to explain more.
So thank you so much, Liz, for that really good introduction. I wish my mom was alive to hear it because she never understood what I did for a living. Like how long I did it. She could never tell her friends what I did. So, and I just want to clarify when I reached senior leadership status. So that's when I had my own office and I had a plant in that office that somebody else watered, not me. That was my goal for, that's when I hit that was it. So both Jaime and I are really excited to be here. We also have Shannon Peck, who's also here from our team. All of us are certified Spotted coaches. Anybody here that's listening on this call can be a certified Spotted coach. It's a terrific tool for leadership. And that's really the angle in which we introduce it to those that we coach and that we teach about leadership. So let me go ahead and I'll share the slide deck. I think I need permission to have the slide deck. And both Jaime and I are going to lead this for you.
Yes.
Liz, do you know how to give permission?
I think it's by my name and then you do co-host.
Yeah, if you click on the little 3 dots by someone's name, I think you can.
Okay, I just made you co-host.
Nice. Here we go.
Perfect. Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right, here we go. Everybody seeing this?
Yep.
Thumbs up. Excellent.
Yep.
All right, so the official title is Spotted Situational Stress, a panic button in your pocket. So that's the official title, and we'll talk more about what that means. And as we get into this, really this is all about situations in the workplace that cause you stress. And when they cause you stress, what do you do about it? So I'm going to go ahead and share what causes me stress. So professionally, what causes me stress is that I have a lot of different client engagements, and I always have to stay 1 step ahead, sometimes 3 steps ahead of my client in all aspects. And so doing that stresses me out sometimes. It's like keeping up, and not only just keeping up, but keeping ahead. So that's personally. Professionally, what's a challenge is I have 3 boys, and they're all like 17 and up. And 2 of them right now are rock climbing in the Gunks, which is in New York State. There are these really tall, rocky cliffs, and they put in their own equipment, like in a little crack, and then they put the rope through that, and they have to make sure that the little piece of equipment is the right size for the crack, and that holds them in. And so they go really high, really, really high. And so that just scares me a little bit. Jaime, what situations cause you stress?
Well, I actually have a situation that happened right before this meeting that's incredibly relevant to this. Um, so tech issues just generally cause me stress. So Jesse, I give you a lot of credit for all the work that you do online. But right before this meeting, I was having some audio issues. Um, that was giving a lot of feedback, a lot of echoing, and mind you, I've been using this computer for years, hunky dory, everything's fine. But right before this presentation, we had some weird feedback issues. Hence the headphones here, the cool headphones. That just gives a little bit of context there. But I see some other cool headphones here in the audience as well today. So in good company. But yes, those unexpected, just sort of like tech issues that can happen in the workplace absolutely can get me off base. But thankfully, we have a wonderful method that can always, help us get back to peace. So that's what we'll be talking about today.
Yep.
So we do just want to open it up to the floor here and invite some dialogue as to what causes you stress in the workplace or professionally. Unfortunately, it's just part of the human experience that everybody has some stressful situations in their lives. So please feel free to either type in the chat or just open it up, unmute your mic and share what's going on.
I can share generally, just as a working mom, the point where home life and work life intersect, and some days are really hard at work and busy, oversaturated, overstimulated. I come home and then you have to be, the head of household for the kids and the family too. Sometimes it's just not, the juice isn't there, and that could be very stressful and overwhelming. That comes to mind for me.
Oh, fair enough. Someone else want to share? And this helps us. One, it'll make you feel less alone, like other people can relate. And at the same time, it'll help us tailor the conversation to what's really going on, what's causing you stress.
I think I would echo a lot of what Liz said as well, but I think ambiguity as well, and not just ambiguity, because a lot of projects that we work on, it's ambiguous, and I get that, and I can work with that, but I think having kind of a nebulous support from your boss, coworkers, and not knowing if you have that, that definitely causes me stress.
Yep, fair enough. Anyone else?
Yeah, for me, it's if you have coworkers who think they know things or think they know everything, but they actually know less than you know, and they give incorrect information to you or to people even above them in the chain of command, then it's kind of like, so really? Now I have to fix, not only do I have to do the work, but I have to fix this in a diplomatic way.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes working with other people is the best thing that ever happened, and sometimes it can cause headaches, right?
Yeah. So my supervisor and the other members of my team, fantastic. But every once in a while, you get somebody from outside the team, and you're like, oh, really?
Yeah. Ellen, did you want to share? And no, not forced to. We just have a small group, so I.
Sure. Where should I start? I can relate with the family thing, having 3 children and just being stressed that everything works out. If I have like a huge project coming up, and then it's like, okay, daycare, please don't call. But when Shani was sharing, I just think that sometimes it causes stress to me if don't know how to start a certain conversation. So I'd like to help people. And when people ask me, can you do this? And I say, sure, I can, but I don't really want to do this. So how can I go back and maybe explain and redelegate this task? Sometimes it just stresses me out because I thought, okay, it is my fault. I should have said no. And then, all this inner talk is starting, and that really stresses me out. And then sometimes that hinders me to really do the action that I want to do.
Yeah, so you're in your mind sort of processing it all, and you're not focused on the job at hand. Yeah, gotcha. Tori, did you want to share yours? In which situations that cause you stress?
Oh, okay. I apologize for joining late. I had a meeting that ran over.
No, we're happy. We're happy you're here.
Yeah. So good afternoon. I think the most difficult thing is getting ahead of things, like not being in the moment. So I think that there's a lot of pressure and anxiety pressed on being able to deal with so many things at once that haven't even occurred yet. So I think that creates a lot of stress and anticipation. So I'm trying to be more deliberate and focused on the now versus what is happening tomorrow or what will be happening next week. So that creates a lot of tension and stress.
Gotcha. Sheena, did you want to chime in? Situations that cause you stress?
Sure. Situations that cause me stress would be unrealistic expectations and competing priorities. I feel like we live in a world where everyone wants to do so much all at once. And I tell people, if everything is number one, nothing is number one. So we need to prioritize. And the reason why that causes me stress is because I'm an overachiever and I like to challenge myself. So even if it's hard and it's unrealistic, I'm going to try to do it. And then I overwhelm myself. But that's a me problem. But it's me responding also to the environment and what's happening in that space.
Yes, gotcha. All these are relatable. Shannon, did you want to chime in? Things situations that cause you stress?
Sure. I think I'm going to kind of shadow Jaime. Technology issues sometimes. Zoom for some reason doesn't always love me, or Teams for some reason. So sometimes I'll join a meeting and they can hear me, but they can't see me, or they can see me, but they can't hear me. So sometimes that kind of gets me a little off of my game, a little stressed out.
Yeah. Or don't you love it when Zoom wants you to re-up, like it has to.
Yes, it has to
update. You only really let yourself 5 minutes to get on, and you're like, Zoom needs to update now. You're like, no, not now. Don't update now.
Yes, or your computer decides it wants to do some type of weird update. And so technology,
Yes.
Damita, welcome. We're just sharing situations that cause us stress. The topic for today is, workplace situations. It can be personal too. That cause you stress. We didn't know whether or not you wanted to throw your hat in this ring.
I guess, and I apologize. I'm going to say conflicting priorities. The reason why I was late, but that seems to throw a wrench in most days. So that's what I'll go with.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, not good that you have all these situations, but good that we're kind of clear on what we're dealing with here, because this will help us, again, really tailor this conversation. Since there's just a nice intimate group here. Along the way, if you have any questions, either raise your hand or come off of mute, because this session is really for you. So if you have a question about what we're covering, we don't have 50 people on here. We have a small group, so we can get through it all if you want to stop. So, but we're going to continue on. Because
Tara, I do just want to, sorry to interrupt, just draw attention to the chat too. Sheena just offered, this is a trivial one, but the what's for dinner question also can lead to stress. Yes, absolutely. And the beautiful thing about this kind of dialogue is that it's so easy to feel isolated in this world, that we are the only ones experiencing symptoms of stress and anxiety, and there's so much going on in our inner world. But by just having this space held where we can talk to a community, you realize that you're not really alone and that we're all kind of going through this. So, so thank you all for engaging.
Yeah.
The second piece of this part here as well is we just kind of want to ask you generally, wouldn't it be great if you had a panic button in your pocket that could just bring you back to peace, back to productivity, back to physical health in the moment in less than 5 minutes, so that when these stressful situations inevitably occur in the workplace, at home, you can address it right then and there? If your answer is yes to that question.
Yes. Do we get a yes? Do we get a yes? A yes in the chat? Yes.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yes, it would be.
Yes. Well, we got you covered.
Yes, we got you covered. It sounds like we're selling snake oil, but we're really not. But what we're sort of selling and sharing with you is it's going to sound crazy that this could even help you, because all of those situations are not little ones. So, ambiguity, competing priorities, balancing work and home life. I mean, they're not little things, right? So how could what we're going to share with you, this 4-step method actually help you get back to peace, help you get back to productivity? Like, how in the world would this work? And we want you to hold your disbelief or hold your your reservations about it until we go through it, until you actually try it. So this is the SPOT-IT method. So the SPOT-IT method is a 4-step method that was it's been around since the late 1930s. It's proven. It's CBT, so it's cognitive behavioral therapy, but we don't lead with that. We more lead with the emotional intelligence side. But if you've ever been in any kind of counseling, CBT is the gold standard for making a difference. And that's what this is. The person who founded it, we like to say he's the grandfather of CBT. It's super practical. So if you're ever thinking, I need something that helps me work myself down now, like I'm upset now, what can I do to get back to peace now? This is why it's so practical. The other reason why it's so practical is you can do it yourself, or if you know somebody who knows the SPOT-IT method, you can do it with others as well. And so we have this vision. I don't know if you can see on my jacket, it's a pin that says I speak SPOT-IT, or sometimes it says SPOT-IT is spoken here. And our vision at DillonMarcus is that lots of people who know the SPOT-IT method will have this pin on their backpacks, on their briefcase, on their signature line in their email that says I speak SPOT-IT. So anytime you're feeling stress or anytime that you're in symptoms, you could go up to that person and you can say, do you have time to spot a situation? So just link, like language wise, SPOT-IT is the name of the whole program. You spot the situations, meaning you're putting a spotlight on the situation that's causing you stress. And then just to make it more complicated, there are spots, and these are these phrases that will help work you down. But it sounds complicated, but what's going to happen is we think the example teaches, and the example will make it so simple. But here's the thing, we need a volunteer who would go through this 4-step method with us. And all that's required is that you just share a specific situation that you want to get some insight into and you want to work yourself down. And I'm counting on my ATD peeps who know what it's like when you ask the audience members for participation and you get crickets. So I'm counting on that somebody would be bold enough to actually say, yes, I'll work with you, Tara. So anybody in the room have a specific situation? It will literally only take like 3 minutes, tops 4 minutes.
Yes.
It could be any of those
I
situations.
can be a volunteer.
All right, Ellen, excellent.
Awesome, Ellen.
Thank you. So Ellen, so I'm just going to walk you through the situations, but before we get through the steps, but before we get into it, what's the situation?
Yes, the situation. Yeah, the situation can be that I attend a conference and I'm away from my office for maybe 1-2 days, and then I come back and my post box is filled and I get totally stressed. And I think I have to reply to each of the mails immediately.
Perfect. So that's perfect. So Ellen already did step 1. So this is the method here. So up on the screen here, see how it says step 1? So step 1 is you first identify the situation. So it's not everything's causing you stress. Ellen really honed in on one thing, and she briefly and calmly described the situation. So we all have a good sense of that. So does she. So excellent job, Ellen. You already did step 1. Not so bad.
Yay.
Yes.
All right, now step 2 are symptoms. So I'm going to ask you, what are your physical sensations and what are your thoughts related to this? So let's take one at a time. So in that, when that happens to you, what are your physical sensations? Do you have a sense of what they are?
Yeah, I kind of get into a freeze mode. Like I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I might even have like sweaty hands and elevated heart rate. And yeah, just feeling really uncomfortable in my own skin.
Yeah, all very normal, stress symptoms, very, very common, I should say. How about your thoughts? What are your thoughts related to this situation? And they can be anything. They don't have to be politically correct. It's like, what are your thoughts related to this situation?
Yeah, oh my goodness, so many emails. Oh great, so many emails. Oh no, important client emails. I have to answer all of them at the same time. Where should I start? I don't know where to start. Why am I thinking so much about this? I'm wasting so much time. Now I'm getting stressed even more. And then
Great.
on.
Ellen, you are doing so good with this method because it's so true. Can everybody else see their own minds working in Ellen's situation, like related to, yeah. So sometimes it's not even the situation, but it's what you're thinking about the situation that's also adding some fuel to the fire. So excellent. So you just completed step 2. Now we're going to go to step 3. So these are the spots and self-endorse, and so this is a 2-parter. So the spots are the phrases that can help you work yourself down. So in this method, you get self-reflective here and you look at, see this starter list of spots that's on the screen. So if you look at these phrases, what are 1, 2, or 3 phrases that you think you can say to yourself in this situation that would help work yourself down?
Maybe something like don't make an emergency out of it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Drop the judgment on on ourselves or others. So I'm
Yes.
judging myself like, oh, I'm not good at that.
Yes.
Maybe plan, decide, act.
Yes. Excellent. Here's the secret, Ellen. None of them are wrong. They all apply.
Yeah.
Some might apply more than others, but some might be more direct hits, but they all apply. So all 3 of those, excellent, excellent. So you selected the spots for your situation. Now this next piece is often very hard for many of us because it's sort of not common practice in our culture, and that's self-endorse. And that's just a fancy 2-part word that means give yourself a pat on the back. So the neat thing about the spotted method is you can give yourself a pat on the back related to this particular situation or related to anything at all in life. Like, I fed the cats this morning. I watered the plants. I had dinner ready. I have a dinner idea, like whatever it is. So anything you can endorse yourself related to this situation or just even broader.
Hmm. Yeah, something like I had a successful week that I was not in the office. So,
Yep. See how hard this is?
mhm.
Like Ellen's done way more than that to be like she's had a successful week, but there's a lot of components in there. So we're not one of the great things about the spotted method, it will teach us to like sort of tease out the things you can endorse. Anything more specific, Ellen, you can endorse yourself for? And like I said, the bar is low. You made your bed. It might feel silly, but
Oh yeah, I build up a solid client base, so I can relax and I
yes,
can be proud of myself that I
yes.
achieved what I did. Something like that, maybe.
You went to I'm going to help you a little. You went to the conference. You invested time, money, and yourself to go to this conference. Yeah. And you said you had kids.
Mm-hmm.
You do anything for your kids this week?
A lot.
Like what?
I survived another night with the twins. They're toddlers.
Okay. So you had twin toddlers. So did you read them a bedtime?
Yes,
I'm just making this up. Did you read a bedtime story this week?
yes. And I put them to sleep and it was a breeze. No lie, on one night at least. And
Did they
I
get a
could
bath?
hand,
Did they get a bath at
yes,
all this week?
they took a bath, multiple, and our tween, I could handle a difficult situation with her. and she ate all her veggies on one day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We're going to talk more about why self-endorsement is so important, but just sort of keep this example in your mind. So excellent, excellent. So step 4 might be a little hard for you to do right now, because the question is, what would you have done before knowing the spotted method? So in this situation of you went to conference, you came back and you were a bit put off by all the emails, you know, knowing the spotted method, I'm going to answer it for you. You may have been stressed out longer, not have known what to do, complained a lot about it, been frozen. So, and then after the spotted method, you might have moved, you know, been frozen less, you know, been less, you know, more productivity would come back to you faster, that kind of thing. So that's step 4. So Ellen, you did all the 4 steps. That's it. Your job is done. You can breathe in, breathe out, relax. Now, in this method, if it's just you and me, I'm going to go ahead and give you some spots. So you go in sort of a soundproof booth and you just listen. There's nothing more you need to do. But consider what some of the spots I'm going to say to you. So number 7, calm brings calm. And in a minute, I'm going to open it up to the rest of the room. So if you're looking at the starter list of spots, what are some phrases that you could give to Ellen to help her work herself down in this situation? So I'm going to go and then I'm going to open it up to the room. So 7, calm brings calm. Be self-led, not symptom-led. Outer approval is a want, not a need. And to analyze is to paralyze. So I'll complete my spotting there and I'm going to open it up to the room. Anyone else have any spots that they would share for Ellen's situation?
Ellen, I'd offer number 10, do things in part acts, one step at a time. And number 2, anticipate, enjoy, or not at all.
I like 17. Drop the judgment on ourselves and others. I think we tend to be very judgmental of ourselves.
Yeah. I'll do number 40. We make our greatest gains practicing in discomfort.
I choose number 22. Humor is our best friend. Laugh or cry. I choose to
Good
laugh.
one. Good one.
Great one.
I would add 31, plan, decide, and act.
Yeah. All really good. All really good. So I'm going to close out this example. And you'll notice in the spotted method, Ellen did this example for herself, but you'll see that we all benefit from it because we can all relate to parts of it. And then we can all relate to the spots themselves when we read them. They help work us down. So Ellen, if you ever in the future feel like, oh, I really need to spot this situation, but you don't want it, you feel like it's a burden, you know, anybody who knows the spotted method will say, yes, I'm happy to listen, because in taking the example, it helps us as well. It helps work us down. You're sort of giving it to the group and we get to work ourselves down, and we get to, this is literally mindset training, and our mindsets tend to go negative. And this is retraining us to be more balanced and fair-minded. So Ellen, just we're going to give you some endorsements just from us. Thank you so much for having the courage to share. If we have time, we'll do another one at the end. But that is the method. 4 steps. You go through each one of the steps. And then the rest of this, we're going to talk about why these steps matter so much. So I think I hinted at before where this method came from. This is my hero, Dr. Abraham Lowe. Heroes comes in all shapes and sizes. And this method was founded in the late 1930s, early 1940s. It's a self-help. You can do it yourself. It's peer-to-peer. And Dr. Lowe was head of the psychiatric wards in all the hospitals in Chicago, and he had patients that kept coming back, and he realized he couldn't keep helping them just himself. There was too many patients. So he came up with this 4-step method that they could use on each other. And so he had 30 of his patients who he was always seeing coming back to the hospital. And once he taught them this method, those 30 patients, not one ever came back to the hospital. So that was the success story. Now, and Dr. Lowe studied with Freud and Jung and that ilk over in Europe, but he came to the United States. But here's the thing, when he shared this method, his colleagues were not happy with him. Why weren't they happy with him? Why weren't his fellow doctors happy with him? Anybody have any ideas?
He's revealing trade secrets, so to speak. That, you know, if you teach people how to self-manage, then what's the point of having psychiatrists?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, back in that era, and probably still a little bit now, you know, the doctor is a bit of a god, and, you know, the doctor knows everything and all that. And he's really putting the remedy in people's hands, literally. And so that's why I love the method, because you don't have to be a psychiatrist. None of us from the DillonMarcus team, we're not trained in psychology, or, well, I think Jaime, you're probably the closest one to, right?
Yes, my background's in social work, so
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So Jaime has some background in that, but the rest of us don't. And it just comes out as a leadership tool, an emotionally intelligent leadership tool that we can use with each other. So managers can use this if you have an employee that comes in that's really upset and you're like, I don't know what to do. And hey, let's just grab and on our website, and maybe even in the chat, you can, if it's whynotspotted.com, you can go on the website and you can download this card, and it has the steps on the front and it has the spots on the back, and it's just as simple as going through the card. So that's a little of the background on the method, and it's been used all around the world, and DillonMarcus has the license to bring it to workplace professionals. So that's our claim to fame with it. No other company is teaching this method, just us. All right, trigger happy. So Spotted teaches us how to be emotionally intelligent. So, you know, emotional intelligence, we talked about how important it is. You know, anybody in the training space knows about, you know, emotional intelligence, but the challenge is we know it's important. We just don't know how to do it. You know, how do you do it? And if you do the Spotted method, it will make you become more emotionally intelligent. If you are reactive, it will make you less reactive. It will teach you how. So it will also teach you to like really understand what is causing you stress. Sometimes we don't even notice it, what's causing us stress. And this will teach us to like pay attention so that we can get at it before it becomes a problem. This is more about emotional intelligence. Most of you probably in this room know about this. Emotional intelligence is important in career advancement. Top performers have the most emotional intelligence. It's responsible for 58% of your job performance. Some of your examples, you're working with people. So how do you work with people in a way that's emotionally intelligent and stresses you out less, not more, right? So more about what spotting does, just exactly what we did before. So one, it pinpoints exactly what is bothering us. If you're like me, sometimes you might feel just an overarching level of unsettledness. You're unsettled and you're like, I'm not sure why. When you go to spot a situation, it's asking you, out of all the things that could be bothering you, pick one. What is it that's unsettling you? Sometimes I'll say I need to spot because I'm feeling a little unsettled, a little ungrounded. And then I'll start down the path of the situation. And then I go, this is not it. This is not what's triggering me. And, you know, my mother-in-law passed away in the spring. And sometimes what comes up for me is it's grief. But that wasn't the presenting symptom. You know, that wasn't the presenting situation. It was like, oh my God, I miss my mother-in-law. Like that's what it is. But picking narrowing down and picking the thing can help work us down. We become present to our thoughts. So there's no running around it. You're going right through it. You're not like ignoring this situation. You're going, what are my thoughts that are attached to it? What are my physical symptoms? So, you know, my shoulders right now are up here. Now, okay, I notice I can bring them down. My breath is super shallow. Okay, I'm going to take a couple deep breaths. We get more aware. The spots. Typically, a lot of our minds are programmed to the negative thoughts. We go to the judgmental, the harder thoughts, the negative thoughts, the gloom and doom. Some people have the tendency to catastrophize. How do you say that? Catastrophize. I don't even know.
Catastrophize. Yes, you
Yeah,
got it.
right. So if you're one of those people, this method is you've met a good friend in the spotted method. So you replace fearful, insecure thoughts with more balanced thoughts. Boost our confidence. It's like, do you see how hard it was for Ellen to get to like name like one thing that she could be proud of about herself, right? And she's got a whole list of things. So in the spotted method, it's going to raise your self-confidence because you're going to get practice in endorsing yourself for. I mean, I don't know how many times I do the dishes. I'm like, I'm endorsing myself for doing the dishes. And it might seem silly, but hey, I did them, you know, for the, 700th time, and you can do the same, and it matters. Feeling less alone, more supported. So you can do it peer to peer, or you can do what we call spotted circles. So this can be done in a group setting, just similar to what we're doing now. And Tori, we find our sense of humor. So the laugh or cry, we want to laugh. You know the spotted methods are working if you can chuckle by the end of your situation. If you have a little bit of humor about it, a lot of times when we start with a situation, it's got us, it's got us. But by the end, it's lightened up. It's lightened up, and so we get less reactive. We get less triggered. We'll talk. If you become a spotted coach, we'll teach you about what averageness means, and it sort of means what's common. And just know that it's average when you're getting feedback, when you're about to give a big presentation, online. It's average to get sweaty palms and get triggered by that, right? So it's normal. So this is all of what spotting helps us do. Any feedback from anybody so far of what I'm saying? Any thoughts? Is it resonating? Anyone?
It's definitely resonating. I put in the comments that, a lot of this sounds a little bit like mindfulness.
Yeah.
And some of those, I just had the word in my head, meditation techniques.
Yeah, absolutely. The beauty of this is that it does bring you to that present moment, and it allows you to be the more objective observer and see kind of what's going on in my body and my mind that's kind of working these symptoms up. So what it does is it gives you that pause, which in the hustle and bustle of our world, unfortunately, is so rare. So the spotted method just really allows you to stop and just observe and kind of just get back to the present moment. I know one of the things that seemed to be kind of a recurring theme earlier when we were talking about what brings us stress in the workplace is the anticipation of all these events and all these responsibilities in the future, or maybe something that happened in the past. But what this does is it brings you here and it brings you now, and it's so quick and effective. As Tara had mentioned earlier, my background's in social work, and what I'm so grateful for with this method is that it does bring these really beautiful therapeutic practices like CBT, and it makes it accessible and it makes it quick, and it just brings it to such a wider audience that we can access, in the moment. So that's a beautiful, beautiful connection there, Jessie.
And here's a key concept of the spotted method. And some people don't like this, but I find I love it. Because so before I got on this call, before you get on any, hour long or hour and a half long meeting, what do? You go like, I'm going to just use the restroom before I get on. So I go to use the restroom, and guess what? No toilet paper. Now, not a huge deal. There's some tissues still in the bathroom, but it's a triviality. But, the immediate anger is who was the last one in here, and why didn't they replace it? Right. So not a huge deal, but it's those trivialities. So what Dr. Lowe says is that life consists of mostly trivialities. Now, there are harder situations. You know, my mother-in-law passing and all that led up to her passing and us caring for her, not a triviality. Can you still use the spotted method? Absolutely. I used it every day when that was happening. I use it every day no matter what. But most of the things that cause us in life are these trivialities. So what we worry about typically are trivialities. And that's what creates the anxiousness and the stress. So it says trivialities crowd out your life, but any one of them may arouse anger, fear, or disappointment. So Dr. Lowe says, can we learn how to handle the trivialities without temper? So can I, be in the bathroom with no toilet paper and go, okay, I'm not going to give my peace of mind away from no toilet paper, but I could, and you probably could too, and you probably be giving your peace of mind away to something a lot less. How somebody loads the dishwasher, there's no gas in the car, who didn't replace the copier paper, who took my lunch out of the refrigerator, and any of these. But with the spotted method, it helps us find that humor. And here is the foundational shift of the spotted method. Again, this is going to sound easy, but once you try to put it in practice, it can be very, very challenging. So with the spotted method, we start playing a new game. And the new game is my peace of mind is my primary goal. So my peace of mind is my primary goal. So what does that mean? So it's not about being right. Somebody should have put the toilet paper back in the bathroom. Who didn't do that? I'm right, they're wrong. About trying to look good. So in a workplace setting, are you going to say something that causes trouble because you're trying to look good? Or are you judging yourself? You're trying to beat yourself up. Are you beating yourself up over not getting back to all of your emails, or not being the perfect mom, or not getting back to that one email within that same day? So in this method, our peace of mind is our primary goal. So let's keep going on this journey. So Jaime, you want to talk about why each one of the steps works and why it matters?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to move on to break down each of these 4 steps in some detail. One thing about the spotted method is that none of these steps are excess. Everything is very purposeful for why it's existing in this method. So you're welcome to kind of follow along a little bit on those yellow cards. Thank you earlier, Liz, for putting the link in the chat. It was also emailed to you. But let's start here with step 1. The situation. Briefly and calmly describe the situation. So why does this work? First, we invite you to only list one situation. The reason why this is so important is because people often come to us with what we call a laundry list of situations. So these are the trivialities that exist in our lives that just compound throughout the day on top of each other. And then by the end of the day, you're just incredibly overwhelmed, but you don't know why. We can't pinpoint it. So Tara, just because your example is so fresh in our minds, the toilet paper wasn't in, and then maybe like with me, there's some tech issues with our computer right before a big meeting, and you're already stressed out because public speaking's a little bit, you're nervous about that to start with. And then there was traffic coming into work this morning, all of these things just compiling on top of each other. So what this allows us to do is just pick the one situation that in this moment we can identify is stressing us out and diffuse that immediately so that there's no foundation for more and more and more and more things to pile up. Because oftentimes that general overwhelm can cause us to react in ways that are a little bit not calibrated to maybe the triviality that's sparking it, so to speak. So choose one situation and then briefly and calmly describe it. Dr. Lowe really discouraged the use of adjectives because the more that we're using details or adjectives in the situation, we're in the theatrics of it, we're in the drama of it, and we are reliving the story rather than retelling it. I don't know about you, but I can give some pretty elaborate stories about the many trivialities that are occurring in my life, and they can be very colorful, and they can go on for 20 minutes. So the challenge here is to just, as briefly and objectively as you can, which is, Ellen, you did a great job with this earlier. Because this whole idea is we are removed from the drama of it. We take a step outside of ourselves, and now we are the objective observers of the situation, and we are no longer living in the theatrics of it. And right there, we're starting to already work ourselves down.
Yep.
So yes. So
Yeah, and
step
Jamie,
two,
I'm just gonna do,
yeah,
Jamie, I'm just gonna do a time check because it's 12:55. I think originally this was going to 1:30. But I know some people have to leave at noon, so I just wanted to do a time check on how you want us to handle the rest of this presentation.
right.
Because there's more to go, but we can either fast forward through some of it or any feedback.
I guess I would say get through the steps, right? And then maybe expedite after that.
Awesome.
And then
Okay.
if anybody has to leave, we just want to let you know, as a follow-up, there is an app. If you go on whynotspotted.com, you can go on your phone and go to whynotspotted.com and then pick the type of phone that you have, and it'll take you to the App Store. And it's a free app. So the basic version of the app is free. You can just sign up right then and there, and you can practice the method there. So just if anybody has to jump off, we just wanted you to know that. So we'll do like a quick version. Really quick, Jamie, you want to do just a quick of why the symptoms, the speed version of why the symptoms?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the symptoms are broken up into two parts here. We're going to talk about our physical sensations and our thoughts. So in the same spirit of being an objective observer, we are going to look at what our body telling us. Our bodies have their own language. It's always sending us messages. When we're in a stress response, our body is uniquely, either making us sweat or giving us headaches, or for me, it's a clenched jaw. Or whatever your body is telling you, that is what we're going to be looking at. And then our thought symptoms as well. So what is that internal dialogue in your mind when you're experiencing a stressful situation? Where does your mind go? We're getting curious here. We're not getting judgmental of ourselves. So by naming it, we're already starting to diffuse it. So we do just want to pause here and say as well, the spotted method is incredibly helpful, but it is not to be replaced. It is not meant to be a replacement for professional medical or therapeutic help as well. If you are experiencing a new or worsening symptom physically, absolutely go and seek out your medical provider. If you are experiencing intrusive thoughts that are not, common to you, they're pretty unfamiliar and they're concerning, absolutely go seek out professional help as well. So we just
this is all for the averageness, the average.
Yes.
So but with your symptoms, if you name them, you start to tame them, you become the objective observer. And then if we're angry, we no longer are our anger, but we can then see it. So that's the symptoms.
Exactly. So typically here we just pause for a moment and ask, everyone to share if they have any experiences with sensations in their body.
Chat. Yeah.
Type it in. I know for me, and I'll just share this. When I was, I had a little time in my life that I was teaching. I was in grad school. I was working all the time. I was very stressed out, but I didn't know it. I ended up fracturing 3 teeth during that time frame because I was constantly grinding my teeth and clenching my jaw, but I had no idea because I was never taking that time to just pause and observe what my body was telling me, which is, hey, take a second, you're really stressed out. So does anybody else have any examples?
That's crazy, Jamie. I don't know if I ever heard that. That's awesome.
No, I don't think I shared that one yet.
That's how you're not even aware, right?
Yeah. I mean, our worlds are so fast paced and we're just told to say yes to all these things. And all of a sudden you're just
I can't read the
tense.
chat. Is anybody putting things in the chat? I'm displaying.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, no sensations. There are some other comments in the chat. Thank you, Jesse. If you have to hop off, thank you for your kind words too.
Yeah, Jesse, thank you.
All right.
So this is the impact of stress and body. you know, and this is the mind-body connection. And, you know, I don't think you get to be any certain age without understanding that there is a mind-body connection. So, you know, when you're under stress, it's the flight or fight response. When you're under the parasympathetic, that's the relaxation one. And where we want to be is a relaxation one. The stress response leads to all kinds of negative health outcomes. The rest and digest, more positive ones. So,
Yeah.
want to say anything more, Jamie, about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That was perfect, Tara. The nervous system just has these two switches with the sympathetic and the parasympathetic response, and both of them are wonderful for what they're designed for. So the sympathetic nervous system, we do want that to be activated when we are in periods of really high stress or there's an immediate dangerous threat to our physicality. We want to get into a response where we increase these stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and you know, the blood flow goes to our muscles rather than our brain, so we're able to really, you know, have more strength and be quicker and move faster than normal. It's very purposeful for those scenarios. What's distorted now is that we are entering into these sympathetic responses over our boss is sending us an email, or Amazon packages not being delivered at 3 p.m. like it told us it would be, those kind of things. So we are operating in this very heightened response. And the longer that we are there, if it is prolonged, we are secreting these stress hormones. Our bodies are very physically reacting to that. And this can lead to long-term inflammation, disease, chronic illnesses. So for our body's sake, it is vital that we are learning strategies to keep us in more of the parasympathetic, the rest and digest nervous system response. So Spotted is absolutely wonderful in helping to work that down. So yeah.
Yep. So here are the spots. So again, we mentioned before, the spots are the phrases that help you work yourself down. If you take anything away from the session, print out the card and keep those spots with you. Keep those phrases with you, because that's what's going to help you in any of the situations that you shared at the top of the hour. So here are a couple. Just know this is, again, the good news and the bad news. It's not the situation, it's our reaction to it. So we're going to have things that trigger us all around us. All day long, there are these triggers that will trigger us, but it's not those triggers. It's how we respond, and we have control over how we respond. So that's a spot. Angry temper. This goes back to what Jesse's not on anymore, but he had it right on the nail on the head, is judging ourselves or judging others. So angry temper is when we're pointing our fingers outward. We're judging other people as wrong. That will raise your symptoms. You want to really back off of judging other people harshly. And fearful temper is the fingers pointing back at you. You want to really back off of judging yourself harshly. So all of this judgment works yourself up. It steals your peace. And remember, what's our goal? Your peace of mind is your primary goal. So if you're judging, you're not putting your peace of mind first. This one is a fan favorite of anybody who learns the Spotted method. If you don't remember any other spot, calm brings calm. In any situation, you can say, calm brings calm. Just had a little mini fender bender. Calm brings calm. And anything. And you can also, it's calm in your body. So if you're a tapper or a shaker, calm brings calm in your body. Take a deep breath. It's distressing, but not dangerous. What has us work ourselves up is we attach danger to situations that shouldn't have danger attached to them. So it's distressing. This is distressing, not dangerous. It's cause for worry. It's cause for concern, but not for worry, right? So you're working yourself down. Here's the brilliance of the Spotted method with regards to building your self-confidence. So if you're more self-confident, you're more secure in yourself. When you're more secure, you're less likely to have symptoms. So this is self-endorsed. So this, like it says here, when a person is secure internally, they relax. And when we relax, we don't experience the symptoms of anxiety. So if we know the connection between feeling secure and our symptoms, we have to take steps to make sure we feel secure. This is write this one down. One inner endorsement is worth 1,000 outer endorsements. So oftentimes we're looking for the outside praise of other people. This what this says is what you say about yourself and to yourself matters more than what anybody else says about you. One inner endorsement is worth 1,000 outer endorsements. Here's all the ways you can self-endorse: for breaking a negative habit, for changing a belief, for doing chores, for doing something you were afraid to do, for doing something for yourself if you don't often do it, for doing something when you were in symptoms, for fixing something, helping somebody, making positive changes. Shannon just quit coffee. She drank a couple cups of coffee a day. She now doesn't drink any coffee every day. That's highly endorsable. So trying something new, for using the spotted method. So many things. So get good at self-endorsing, and then you'll be able to peg your growth against the wall. You'll see how much you have grown with the spotted method over time. You'll see. You'll be like, I can't believe this silly 4-step method has made this big of an impact in my life. We hope that you'll say that. So with regards to this situation, my workload is heavy and I'm feeling overwhelmed. What spots, and you can come off your mute, what spots can you apply? This is you practicing the method. Your workload is heavy and you're feeling overwhelmed. What spots?
I'd go back to plan, decide, and act.
Yep. It's a good
It
one.
feels like a good one for me.
Yep.
Don't give your peace of mind away to it.
Don't make an emergency out of it.
Yeah.
I also like the where's the paralyzed one? Analyze.
Oh, it analyzes the paralyzed.
To analyze is to
Yeah.
paralyze.
Number 37.
Yeah.
All good. I always like, don't talk to anyone who's not in the room with you. You know, I always like that one.
Mhm.
All right, so you get the idea here. You can apply the spots to the situation. And then if you commit to doing the spotted method, here's what you can expect to experience: more peace of mind, fewer symptoms, not angry or upset, or not angry or upset as long, more time being productive, less time wasting your time, like in the symptoms part of it. More emotionally intelligent, you're going to suffer less, you're going to gain that inner smile, you'll be more self-confident, and you'll have better relationships. So there's so many good things if you practice the method. So Jamie, you want to just share about the...
Yeah, absolutely. So as Tara mentioned earlier, we do have an app that will give you access to practice this 4-step method at your fingertips on your own time. So there's a QR code here on the screen. If you have your phone available and handy, go ahead and scan that. As Tara mentioned earlier, this can also be found on our website, whynotspotted.com. Now this app, there's a free version of this app. There's also a premium version, but this free version is going to give you a bunch of resources for you to use to further just understand this method, and find some more resources and some education on it. You will see once you get to the homepage after you go ahead and scan that QR code, you can sign up with your information, and then you'll see on the homepage this big yellow button here where you can spot a situation. So essentially what that's going to do is it's going to walk you through each of the 4 steps that we've been talking about today on your own for your own data collection, and to help work you down in the moment. So this can be used, as we talked about, in a peer-to-peer method. So if you are at work and a coworker also speaks the spotted language, you can work a situation down with them. Or if you are on your own, it's 2 a.m., nobody's around, your mind is just reeling, you can pull out your phone and you can also just spot on your own. It's also wonderful for those situations that you want to keep confidential as well, and you don't necessarily want to, talk through that with anybody.
Yeah, a lot of people like that.
This app will help you with that. Yes, absolutely. Perfect.
And so, Jamie, I think I'll do this because I think you're getting a little bit
Go
of
ahead.
feedback. So, so how can you get better using the spotted method? One, follow us on LinkedIn, whynotspotted.com. We would love to have you follow us there. We share spots all the time. So if you're a LinkedIn person, you will see longer explanations of the spots. And so that will help you. You can spot situations using the app. You can spot situations with somebody who was in this webinar with you. Or if you want, we can sign you up to receive a drip course, which would send you these videos on a weekly basis. And so in bite-sized chunks, you can learn about the method. And this is Donna Sand, who is a walking testament of the method. In 1 year, she went to the ER with panic attacks 7 times. After she learned the spotted method, she hasn't been back since. And this is my cute husband, Evan, and he's been using the spotted method for like 25 years. And it has been a game changer in our family life and in our professional life. So we really invite you to join the ever-growing number of workplace professionals who can say spotted is spoken here. And if you want to become a spotted coach and get this pin and become a resource for yourself and for those around you, again, why not spotted.com, and you can find out more there. So thanks, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tara, Jamie, Shannon. Thanks for joining today. Really love this.
Thank you.
Gonna just stop the recording.